Welcome to Christ Fellowship Young Adults. We are so excited for tonight. It's going to be a great night. We got a lot of stuff packed, and we're going to get started in a few minutes.
Yeah, but before we get started, we wanted to let you know that you can share this service with someone else. So we all know that we have a friend or a family member or a roommate or maybe someone stuck in quarantine that needs to be here for service tonight. So make sure you click the share button down below and share this service with them.
Yeah, one of our young adult pastors, Pastor Alec Bell, is going to be bringing the word, talking about James chapter 3. Now, we're in this series called James in July, and so we are so excited because it's just going to be a great time. He's bringing a great word, so make sure you invite a friend. But we'll see you back here in a couple minutes.
Welcome back, everyone. We just wanted to hop on one more time before we started to let you know about our favorite part of service, which is groups. We have an awesome Zoom group right after service that you can join in for some community and for a great time of just getting to talk more about the message. So right after service, we're going to hop off of YouTube and we're going to hop on to our Zoom groups tonight.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're not in a group yet and want to be, you can do something super simple. Take out your phone, text YA group to 441-441. There you're going to receive a link, and after our message, after the worship, when we jump into groups, all you have to do, hit that link. It'll direct you right to them. And here's the great thing about groups. There's a group of people that want to get to know you and want to get to know Jesus together in community. So make sure you jump into a group.
Yeah, we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Hey, what is up, CF Young Adults? We have officially started the best night of the week.
Yep.
And that's Thursday at 7:30. We are so glad that you have chosen to join in with us tonight. My name is Roman.
And my name's Celeste, and we're so excited that you're here. We have an awesome service planned for you guys and a great night.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And if this is your first time here at Young Adults Online, or maybe the first time in a long time, we want to get to know you. We want to know that you are here. So take out your phone, text CFYA to 441-441. There you'll get a link. Someone from our team wants to reach out to you, be able to help answer any questions that you might have, and really just to get you plugged into this community of young adults that we have. You'll also receive some of our content, which is directions on how to watch our podcasts, maybe get access to that digital James in July journal that we have going on. So make sure if this is your first time or first time in a long time, CFYA to 441441.
Yeah, and speaking of our James in July devotional, tonight's service is actually week 3 of our series, James in July. Pastor Alec is going to be bringing an amazing message on James chapter 3, and all week long, you're going to be able to jump into the fun with our James in July devotional. Yeah. But get this, Roman, at the end of the series, they'll be able to check off that they've read an entire book of the Bible.
Wow.
And that they're knowledgeable in all things in the book of James.
That's great. That's a bucket list item right there. Everybody wants to say they've read a whole book of the Bible. And so make sure you do that. Check out that devotional because it's going to help walk you through everything we're learning about on Thursday night. But hey, I can already feel it. Tonight is going to be a great night.
It is.
And so make sure that you are sharing this message. Make sure you are inviting a friend who maybe has never even heard of Christ Fellowship Young Adults, or maybe that normally comes, but they're trying to back out. They're trying to go get Wendy's. They're trying to go hang out with friends. You need to get them here tonight because it's going to be an awesome night.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's jump into our service tonight.
Well, young adults, welcome back to Thursdays at 7:30. If I haven't had the chance to meet you yet, my name is Alec Bell, and I get to serve on our team at our downtown West Palm Beach location. And I just want to say, wherever you're watching from, I'm so excited that you're here. There is no better place to be on a Thursday night. Come on, can you just say how excited you are in the chat to be in God's house, young adults? We are so excited that you are here. Well, tonight we are starting or continuing our series on the book of James. And if you haven't gotten the picture yet, every chapter of the book of James addresses a theme. The first theme that we saw in week 1 was joy in all circumstances. The second week we saw was faith in action. And tonight we're talking about the tongue. Now, these are the words that come out of our mouths. Did you know that the average man speaks around 7,000 words a day? The average woman actually speaks around 20,000 words a day. So if you think about this for a second, if we do the math correctly, we are looking at saying around 10,950,000 words a year. Now, that's a lot of words. But how many people know that one word can stick with someone for the rest of their life? We're calling this message word count because if you've ever used Google Docs or Microsoft Word, you know that there's a count of how many words you have on that document. And my question tonight is this. If there was a word count for your life, how many words would be positive? How many words would be uplifting? How many words would inspire? But on the flip side, how many words have maybe made people feel small, inadequate, not the best? See, we have a limited amount of words that we use, and we have to use these words correctly. Now, I want us to look at James chapter 3, verses 2 through 12, and they say this. Indeed, we all make mistakes, for if we could control our tongues, we would be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way. We can make a large horse go wherever we want by the means of a small bit in its mouth. And a small rudder makes a huge ship turn wherever the pilot chooses to go, even though the winds are strong. In the same way, the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set off a great forest fire. And among all the parts of the body, the tongue is the flame of fire. It is a whole world of wickedness, corrupting your entire body. It can set your whole life on fire, for it is set on hell itself. People can tame all kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and fish, but no one can tame the tongue. It is restless and evil, full of deadly poison. Sometimes it praises our Lord and Father, and sometimes it curses those who have been made in the image of God. And so blessing and cursing come pouring out of the same mouth. Surely, my brothers and sisters, this is not right. Does a spring of water bubble out with both fresh water and bitter water? Does a fig tree produce olives or a grapevine produce figs? No, you cannot draw fresh water from a salty spring. Now, I know that was a lot, but there's power in our tongue. And before we start tonight, I think we need to address the new tongue, and that's our thumb. I mean, if we're being honest for a second, we've lived in a culture these past years where there's been a lot of things said on social media. I don't know about you, but I would go on my Facebook page and I would see a post and it would be like 151 comments below, and what people were saying was mind-blowing. I mean, there were things that people would say that they would never say in person. They would degrade, belittle, bring people down, and I know that they would never have said this to someone face to face. And while people were doing this, they were just leaving a wake of destruction behind them. See, the words that they said actually stuck with someone for the rest of their life. And I want us to look at that statement again in James, because the tongue, it can inspire. Like when I look at the book of James and it says that the tongue makes grand speeches, my mind just starts to wonder about all the speeches that have been made over the years. The one that I go to right off the bat is the I Have a Dream speech. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr., he put pen to paper. He wrote an amazing message, an amazing speech that challenged us to not look at the color of our skin, but to look at the quality of our hearts. And through this speech, through this message, Dr. Martin Luther King actually inspired a whole country to turn away from racism, but to turn towards love. See, his tongue in that moment actually brought people together. I think about commencement speeches. I remember sitting in my high school graduation and my principal giving a commencement speech over us that actually inspired me to live differently in my college years. I think about messages here at Christ Fellowship or any other church on Sunday morning. I think we all can go back to a time in our lives where we heard a message, we saw a message, and it inspired us to live a life that is worthy of the calling of God. See, the tongue, it can inspire so many people. It can do amazing things, but how many people know that the tongue can also divide? It can belittle. It can put people down, leaving a wake of destruction in its path. Have you ever had a conversation with maybe a close family member or a brother and a sister, and maybe the conversation got a little too heated? You're arguing back and forth, trying to make your point, and at the breaking point, you say something that you know you should not have said, and suddenly you're just wanting to take back your words. Have you ever been there before? I've been there so many times where I feel like I've just put my foot in my mouth, and I have this saying of, why did I say that? Why did I say what I just said? Now, we might say this term of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But how many people know that the words you spoke are still with that person? You can't take words back. You can't make ears unhear something. No, the words that we have spoken stick with us forever. See, the tongue, it causes us to do things that we don't always want to do. Or we sometimes catch ourselves saying, why did I say that? I mean, if we're being honest, there are news anchors, celebrities, CEOs that have said one thing in the public eye and then immediately their career is over. They are no longer allowed to be on live television, or they're dismissed from a company. And I can say that all of them have probably looked in the mirror and said, why did I say that? Why did I even let myself say that? I didn't even have that thought on my mind. Where did it come from? And the author of James, he talks about the tongue, and he says this statement that I want us to wrestle with. He actually says, but no one can tame the tongue. It is restless, evil, and full of deadly poison. Young adults, this statement may shock you, but it is impossible to tame your tongue. It is impossible to tame your tongue. And this might be something that you say, well, Alec, there's no hope in that. And it sounds like bad news. And can I tell you, it is bad news, but there is some good news. The bad news is you can't tame your tongue. But the good news is you can transform your heart. You can transform your heart. And young adults, I believe tonight that we can tame our tongue and have a healthy heart by understanding these three truths. And truth number one is this, is you can't tame the tongue. You can't tame your tongue. Now, like we said, I know this is bad news, but we need to come to a realization that the tongue, it can't be tamed. We can't control what we say. The tongue can't be tamed. And I know that sounds awful and we don't know what to do with that, but we have to recognize that the author, James, is saying you can't tame your tongue. But there's a truth to it. And the second truth is this: you can transform your heart. You can transform your heart. See, every part of the body is connected. And when one part suffers, the other part suffers. For example, have you ever been hangry before? Hungry and angry? Have you ever been hangry? Now listen, you're not just gonna try to fix your anger. You're also gonna try to eat some food along with it. You need to do two things to address the problem of your issue. And when it comes to the tongue, we actually need to address the root of the issue. I want us to look in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 45. It says this: a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. Don't miss this. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Young adults, I don't want you to miss this tonight, because the author of Luke is telling us a very important truth. See, your heart actually influences your mouth. Did everyone see that tonight? Your heart actually influences the words that you say. Here's something funny to think about. Your heart actually tells on you. Your heart tells on you. It does. Because what comes out of your mouth first had to come in through your heart. So based on this passage, we know that yes, we can't tame the tongue, but we can transform our heart. We can actually focus on what we're putting in. So young adults, I think it's important for us to recognize that we don't really need to focus on what's coming out of here. We need to focus on what's going in here. We need to focus on what's going on in the heart. Because when we focus on the heart, it's actually going to influence what comes out of our mouths. James chapter 3, verse 11 says this: does a spring of water bubble out of both fresh water and bitter water? Does a fig tree produce olives or a grapevine produce figs? No, and you can't draw fresh water from a salty spring. See, the truth is tonight, you can't fake a healthy heart. You can't fake it, because your mouth is going to tell on you. You can't be two things. You can't be good and evil. You can't be bitter and fresh. You can't be a fig and an olive. No, you're either one or the other. What's inside of your heart has to come out of your mouth. And young adults, the third truth tonight is this. And this is the most important truth of the night, and I don't want you to miss this. The third truth is this: it's that the overflow is where the influence is. The overflow is where the influence is. Now, that statement may be confusing, but whatever comes out and whatever you're full of is what matters the most. You might have heard this phrase at Christ Fellowship, that we're full of it, that we're full of God things. We're full of life. We're full of the Spirit of God. Why? Because we know that when we're full of something, when we're full of the good thing, that's where we have influence. Now, I want us to think for a second about what we're putting into our hearts. What are we putting into our lives? What are we letting our ears listen to? And I remember in college, I went through a huge R&B and rap phase. Now listen, it was like a 24/7. It was the workout playlist. It was the car playlist. It was the study playlist. It was everything. Like my life was no longer really consumed with worship music. It was consumed with Drake and Rihanna. And I don't know about you, but it's not a good combination. But I remember for probably 2 or 3 months, I just kept listening to R&B and rap the whole time. And what's funny is I was a Christian. I thought I had good character. But in those 2 to 3 months, my attitude changed. The words that I said were a little different. I might have been harsh and mean at some points. I wasn't who I was 2 to 3 months ago. And the truth is, I was intaking the world and not really intaking the things of God. I just kept listening to what they were saying and the lyrics that they portrayed, and I didn't think it had an effect on me, but my mouth started to tell on me. I started to say some things I shouldn't have said. Maybe some curse words came out, right? And I had a friend that cared about me. He loved me, and he recognized the patterns. He recognized that I was listening to a little too much R&B and rap. And he said, Alec, I just want to challenge you for a second. Put down the rap and the R&B and pick up some worship and praise. For a week, I just want to see how your attitude changes. For a week, just listen to praise music. For a week, just listen to worship music. And I love this guy, and I consider him still one of my great friends today. And I said, okay, I'll take you up on it. And for a week, I put away the R&B and the rap, and for a week, I just focused on worship music. Crazy enough, in that week, my attitude changed. In that week, my words changed. In that week, my thoughts about other people had changed. Why? Because my overflow was the things of God, and that had influence over my heart and over my tongue. And young adults, I just want to ask you tonight, where's the influence coming from? Where is your influence coming from? Is it coming from the world? Is it coming from culture? Is it coming from music, from celebrities? Where is it coming from? Or is it coming from God? And I just want us to imagine for a second what our world, what our culture, what our workplaces, what our homes, what would they look like if we focused on the things of God? If we focused on making sure that He had influence over us, that He was the overflow coming out of us tonight. And I would just say that our world would look totally different. Our world would not look the same. The divisiveness and the belittling on social media, I really don't think would exist. Why? Because we're going to be filling ourselves with the things of God and not the things of this world. Young adults, I want to challenge you tonight, because the truth is we can't tame our tongues, but we can transform our hearts. And I just want you to do a deep dive into yourself right now and just begin to ask yourself the question of, where is my influence coming from? Do I have a healthy heart? Is my mouth telling on me? Are there areas of my life that I need to fix? Are there people that I need to apologize to because maybe I haven't been the nicest, or my words have been belittling or degrading? I just want to challenge you with that thought for a second. And again, I want to challenge you to think about what the influence you have over this world too. Where do you have influence? I remember I used to work in the business world not too long ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it wasn't the best culture. People would gossip. People would say things about other people. They would belittle each other behind their backs, right? And I remember I got to that workplace, and I came very clear with, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to be like that person, or I'm not going to gossip, or I'm not going to talk behind anyone's back. I'm going to live differently. And what's funny is when I lived differently, not only were my words kinder, but the people around me started to notice as well. They started to notice that, man, Alec doesn't talk like us, or he doesn't gossip, or he doesn't do anything like this. What's different about him? And believe it or not, because I wasn't like that, I actually had influence over other people. And they saw that you can live differently, that you don't have to gossip, that you don't have to talk bad about other people. And what's crazy is the company culture actually started going up because there was people that said, I'm not going to be like this. I'm going to be like God. I'm going to make sure my heart's healthy. And for you, if you work in a business, if you work at a store, wherever you are, you have influence. And just by your words, you can change a culture, you can change your environment. And I just want to encourage you tonight to live differently, to live like Jesus has saved us, to live like there's power behind our words, because young adults, there's so much power behind our words, and the words that we say stick with people. Come on, we all know the term or the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's so false, because words hurt. But at the same time, words inspire. Words lift other people up. Words encourage. Young adults, I want to challenge you tonight. What are you using your words for? Are you using your words to inspire people or to belittle people? Young adults, we only have one life. And I just want to encourage us tonight. What's our word count? Is our word count high on things of God, or is it high on the world? Young adults, we can change our culture. We can change our workplaces just by the words that we say, but it starts in our hearts. And I just want to pray with you real quick. And maybe you are saying, Alec, my heart isn't very healthy. My heart isn't where it needs to be. I just want to encourage you right now, one prayer, one decision can change your life forever. See, there's this man named Jesus, and 2,000 years ago, he came down from heaven, lived a sinless life, died on a cross for you and for me so that we could be in relationship with him. So that we don't have to live like this world, but we can live like we're set free, live redeemed people. And he offers this gift. We call it salvation, just a fancy word for new life. But he offers new life to anyone who just says, I'll follow you. I'll believe in you. And young adults, you're going to have that opportunity tonight just to accept Jesus. But maybe there's some of you tonight that know Jesus, but your heart's not in the best place. Can I encourage you that wherever you are on your faith journey, he can change your heart. He's changing my heart every single day. See, it's not arrived or my heart is the healthiest it'll ever be. No, constantly he's changing mine. Constantly he's making me better. And if that's you tonight and you're like, Alec, my heart isn't healthy, hey, that's okay. He just wants you to give it back to him and say, Lord, would you make my heart healthy again? Would you help me with my words? Would you help me to encourage people? Would you help me to use my words to honor and glorify you? So young adults, let's pray. Jesus, we thank you so much, God, just for what you're doing in our community, what you're doing in this ministry, what you're doing all across South Florida and the world. And if young adults, this is you tonight, and you don't know Jesus, but you want to know Jesus, can you just put a me in the chat right now to say, yeah, that's me. That's me. We just want to pray for you. We want to encourage you. Our team wants to put resources in your hands so that you can live the best life that you can live. But if that's you tonight, we're just going to say a prayer. And in the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 9, this says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, you believe in your heart that he was raised from the dead, you will be saved. So let's do that right now. Just say, Jesus, thank you for dying for me. I believe that you died on the cross. I believe that you rose again. Come into my life. Make me a new person. And I will serve you for the rest of my days. And Jesus, we also just pray for everyone that knows you, but maybe their heart isn't in the best place. God, right now, I pray that you would just surround them with godly people, that you would surround them with people that love you and love your word and are going to encourage them to live the best life that they can live. God, would you strengthen their souls? God, would you encourage them today? And God, would you just start them on the process, God, of having a healthy heart? Because God, we know that the words we speak come directly from the heart. And God, we want to be people that aren't fake, but God, that are on fire for you. God, giving life-giving words to you. So Jesus, we thank you for this time and we give you praise. And everyone said, amen. Come on. Hey, young adults, can we just make some noise in the chat for everyone who made that decision to follow Jesus tonight? Listen, if you made that decision, that is the best decision that you could ever make. And our team here at Christ Fellowship wants to put resources in your hand. We want to make sure that you are fully equipped to live the life that God has called you to live. Well, young adults, we love you so much. We will see you right back here next Thursday at 7:30 for service. We love you.
Hey, church, thanks for tuning in with us today. Wherever you're at, would you come and stand up? We're going to worship God today. Come on, let's sing this together. Let's go. You've overcome. You've overcome this world with love and made my fight known. And I lift my eyes, throw fear aside, and sing out into the night. Come on. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight calls, even when the wars wage, I'll take heart. And I know you are greater, forever your Savior. I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. Whoa. I stand down the waves, 'cause you own the tide. And I still my soul and know, yes, Jesus, you wait for me on waters wide, where faith walks above the storm. 'Cause even when the world breaks, even when the fight calls, even when the wars wage, I'll take heart. And I know today, and I know you greater, forever your Savior. I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. With all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. I won't let the storm within my heart, won't let the darkness beat me down. Sing in the night, my hope alive in you. Come on, we declare it today. And I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. Pray in the fire and watch it turn. And Jesus, today I give it all to you. And I won't let the storm within my heart, I won't let the darkness beat me down. Sing in the night, my hope alive in you. Oh, and I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. Pray in the fire and watch it turn. And Jesus, today I give it all to you. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight in the night, my hope alive in you. And I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. Pray in the fire and watch it turn. And Jesus, today I give it all to you. Come on, we declare this today. And I won't let the storm within my heart. I won't let the darkness beat me down. Sing in the night, my hope alive in you. And I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. Pray in the fire and watch it turn. And Jesus, today I give it all to you. I give it all to you.
Jesus, today I give it all to you.
Give it all to you, Jesus.
Jesus, today I give it all to you. Come on, would you sing? Jesus, today I give it all to you. I make a choice. Jesus, today I give it all to you. Jesus, in this moment we give you our focus, our attention. Thank you for the truth that in the storm we don't have to be afraid. We can walk with confidence because you are close. You are with us through each and every moment. Would you remind us of that truth right now? You know, the Word of God says that Jesus is an ever-present help in times of trouble. Ever-present, not sometimes, not in only certain circumstances, always. He is always there for us. It goes on to say that He is more than enough and He is always available. Jesus is an ever-present help in trouble, more than enough for us and always available. I want to remind you right now in this moment, whatever you may be facing, whatever you may be going through, Jesus is close. He is with you. And He wants to do something in your life, in your heart. And when we worship Him, when we lift our voices together, no matter where we are, God is there and He's moving. He fills us with peace. He fills us with hope. And He gives us the strength to press on. So would you continue to worship with us in this moment? Jesus, we trust you. You are in control, God. You're more than enough for us, Jesus, and always available. Would we lean into that truth right now in Jesus' name? Come on, we sing. The walls I built. The walls I built around my heart don't scare you at all. Your steadfast love pursues me. It's from the start. It's from the start. You've always been after my heart. The King of Heaven chose me. He chose you. And I won't let my feelings get in my way anymore. Come on, we sing it because it's true. Giving you my whole life, take it. It's yours. I won't let my feelings get in my way anymore. I make a choice. I'm giving you my whole life, take it. It's yours. 'Cause you've never been closer. You've never been closer. You've never been closer. changes when I'm here in your embrace. Draw me close with every word that you say. 'Cause Jesus, with you, the whole world it fades away. Let time stand still and you remain with me. Come on, 'cause something changes. Something changes when I'm here in your embrace. Draw me close with every word that you say. We keep seeing Jesus, Jesus with you. The whole world fades away. Let time stand still and you remain with me. I believe it. Something changes when I'm here in your embrace. Draw me close with every word that you say. You've never been closer. You've never been closer. I could stay here forever. You've never been closer. You've never been closer. You've never been closer. I could stay You've never been closer. You've never been closer. I could stay here forever. You've never been closer, Jesus. Oh, you've never been closer. I could stay here forever. I could stay here forever.
That was such an awesome message and a great time of worship. We want to know what your favorite part of the service was tonight. Go ahead, type it in the chat. And while you guys are doing that, Roman, what did you get from the message
Oh,
tonight?
put me on the spot. One of my favorite things that he said was you can't fake a healthy heart because your mouth will tell on you. And just the power of words. It was so incredible. What about you?
Yeah, I loved when he talked about how, like, you can't transform your words before you transform your heart first.
Yeah, that's good. Well, hey, we want to know what you thought. So throw in the chat what your favorite thing, maybe that Pastor Alec said or something that stuck out to you, maybe a scripture that he used, because we want to see. Anybody got anything? Let's see. Pulling it up. Awesome. I love just seeing the messages so far of what an amazing message, that it was a blessing. I love seeing Priscilla that actually she set an alarm at like 11:50 at the time to join us. That is awesome. We want to welcome you. It's great. Overflow is where your influence is. That was a point
great
that they
point.
made. That was awesome.
Great point. Well, these are all great things. I'm so excited. They're so glad that you guys got to join us tonight. But the night's not over yet. We've got a few things to tell you before we end our service tonight. And one of those things is our James in July devotional. I know we talked about this earlier, but we're going to remind you one more time. Just like in our message tonight, we learned about James chapter 3. Well, you guys can continue reading it at home with our James in July digital devotional. So how you can find that is you can text CFYA to 441-441. There you'll get a link to a whole bunch of things, but you'll be able to see the James in July link and click on that, and you'll be able to join in the devotional with us.
Yeah, and that way at the end of our time in James in July, you can hit that little check for full book of the Bible in a year.
Yeah.
And it hasn't even been a year. It's been a month. So
Yep.
it's awesome. Well, hey, we got another great thing happening, and it's dropping tonight.
It is.
At midnight. You know what it is?
I know what it
think
is.
you know what it is. I
Do
know
you know
what
what
it
it
is.
is?
I don't know if you do. Tonight, young adults, we are dropping our newest episode of our Young and Adulting podcast. It's going to be great. We actually had some of our young adult friends come in and join us to talk about what does this whole adulting thing mean.
Yeah.
And so it's dropping tonight at midnight, but check out this little clip to see what we'll be talking about.
You have a family and then you're, kind of trying to figure out life with more people around you. You have a chance to do it kind of on your own in this season. And I think you spoke to something there, like the constant connectedness. Man, it just challenges so many people because, like, I love when Pastors Todd and Julie talk about their, I looked at the camera like they're there.
They might be.
Their dating relationship. Pastor Todd was like, I would write a letter and then she'd respond like 3 weeks later. And like, that was our communication. Then they got married. Can you imagine?
Different world.
Like, we freak out if someone like opens our Instagram DM and then doesn't respond, and we saw that they read
Yeah,
it.
speaking
Oh,
of which, bro,
100%. Seen
I'm pretty sure
makes
you've
me
done that to
angry.
me
I
recently.
do that because you send me stuff all the time.
Or when the text bubble pops up, like they're about to respond,
Yeah,
it goes
it's
away.
like swerve.
I lose my mind.
It's real.
It's reality, and comparing yourself to other people, like, oh my gosh. I was talking to somebody last night at our house. She's like, honestly, she's single in her late 20s, and she was like, the best thing that married people can do is be real, because it helps me realize, like, okay, this life thing is like, it's not perfect when you get married. There's still challenges, and it's hard. It's beautiful and amazing. But that really inspired me to like want to be real and represent what marriage is, and that there is like difficult times.
Yep.
I think it's both and.
Yeah, which speaks to what you said at the beginning. Wherever you're at, whether you're 29 single, whether you're 20 single, whether you're married, whether you have a full-time job, part-time job, it's okay. Wherever God has you, it's okay. We can commit to like, we're just going to get better. We want to grow. We want to develop, and acknowledge, hey, maybe we are adulting.
Hey, that sounds like it's going to be a great time
It
happening
does.
at midnight. It's going to be dropping on a couple of different platforms, on our YouTube channel, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check it out. It's going to be great. But Celeste, have you ever been left on red, left on scene, not got the text back, but you knew they saw it?
I did.
It's rough, right?
It's rough.
And if you've done that before, and we've texted you and you didn't respond, Andrew Gallo, I texted you, haven't gotten a response. I forgive you. It's okay. But hey, make sure that you check out this podcast coming up, dropping tonight at midnight. It's going to be an awesome time and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, but the night's not over yet because we still have groups tonight. So in just a couple moments, we're going to log off of YouTube and we're going to log on to Zoom for our Zoom groups. But if you don't have a Zoom group, don't worry. You can text YA group to 441-441. You'll be able to get a link directly to a Zoom group where you can dive into community with other people and get to just talk about our message tonight.
Yeah, that's right. And you might be wondering, well, do I have to wait till next Thursday to get involved in Young Adults and know what's happening around our church? Well, no, you don't. You can actually follow us on Instagram at cf.youngadults. There you will see links to get to the digital download of the James and July Journal. You'll see how you can get to our podcast, so just some different things going on, and you can stay in the loop of everything that we have going on here at CF Young Adults. So make sure you check us out on Instagram, cf.youngadults. Well, hey, we want to make sure we invite you back next week. We are going to be talking about James chapter 4. Remember, if you want to read the whole book of James with us, you got to show up. Our pastor, young adult pastor, John Ainley, is coming.
The one and only.
The one and only. He's funny. He's very energetic. He's the life of the party. He's going to be bringing the word as we unpack James chapter 4. You don't want to miss it. And invite a friend when you come.
Yeah, we love you guys, and we can't wait to see you back here next week.
See you later.